Setting the stage, the year was 2387. The Galactic Council had ruled over 700 star systems for 10,000 years. They believed humans were a primitive species, barely worth noticing. Earth had signed the peace treaty 50 years ago, promising to never build warships or leave their solar system. The Council's ambassador, Lord Krell, sat in his golden chamber above Earth's orbit. He watched the blue planet below with 4 eyes that showed only contempt. His assistant, a smaller alien named Vex, entered the room with news. The humans sent another trade ship today, my lord. They request permission to exchange their fruits and music for our basic technology. Krell laughed, a sound like grinding metal. These creatures still think their primitive goods have value. Grant them permission. Let them have our old communicators. Technology from 500 years ago should be enough for such simple beings. Below on Earth, in a secret bunker 5 miles underground, General Tom Mason stood before a massive steel door. His second-in-command, Colonel Lisa White, typed the final code. The door opened with a deep rumble that shook the mountain above. "Them, sir, Project Thunder is ready," she said. Mason nodded. His weathered face showed no emotion, but his eyes burned with purpose. 50 years we've waited. 50 years we've pretended to be weak. Behind the door, a massive hangar stretched. For miles. Inside sat humanity's greatest secret, the UES Vengeance, a battleship unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. It was black as space itself, covered in armor that seemed to absorb light. Its weapons were hidden beneath smooth panels, but Mason knew what lay beneath. Railguns that could crack moons, missiles that could turn a fleet to dust, shields powered by captured stars. The ship wasn't built with alien technology. It was purely human, born from determination and genius. While the aliens watched Earth's surface, humans had been mining asteroids in secret. While aliens laughed at human science, Earth's best minds had been working day and night. "The Council thinks we're pets," Mason said to the gathered officers. "They think we're happy to trade fruit for scraps. They never asked why we signed that treaty so quickly. They never wondered why we never complained." Captain James Cross stepped forward. He was young for such a command, only 35, but his eyes held the wisdom of someone who had studied war his entire life. "The Vengeance is fully staffed, General. 5,000 of Earth's finest. We're ready." Mason looked at the tactical display. Red dots showed Council ships throughout the galaxy. They were spread thin, comfortable in their power. They had no idea that humans had been watching, learning, planning. "The Council has ruled through fear for too long," Mason continued. "They destroyed the Martian colony when we tried to expand. They killed 40,000 humans and called it a lesson. They think we forgot." "We never forget," the room said in unison. The ship's AI, which the crew called Bob, activated its hologram. "General, I've completed the final checks. All systems are operational. Stealth coding is at maximum efficiency. We can reach the Council's home world in 7 days using the jump drive." The jump drive, another human secret. The Council used slow hyperspace lanes, taking months to travel between stars. Humans had found a better way, a dangerous way that required precise calculations and nerves of steel. But it was faster, much faster. "Sir?" Colonel White interrupted. "We're receiving a transmission from the Council ship above us." On the screen, Lord Krell's face appeared. "Humans, we have decided to increase your tribute. You will now provide twice the resources. Failure to comply will result in punishment. You have 1 Earth day to respond." Mason smiled. It was not a kind smile. "Perfect timing. Captain Cross, prepare your crew. Colonel White, send the signal to all hidden facilities. It's time the galaxy learned the truth about humanity." As the transmission ended, Mason turned to face the massive warship. They believed it was peace. They never realized it was preparation. The lights in the hangar dimmed as the Vengeance's engines began their first warm-up in 50 years. The sound was beautiful and terrible, like thunder given form. Asterisk the first. Strike deep in space, at Mining Station 7, the Council's overseer Drac was counting the day's tribute from the enslaved Baron people. The small, furry creatures worked endless shifts, mining precious crystals for their masters. Drac enjoyed watching them suffer. "Work faster, rats!" he shouted, hitting one with his energy whip. Suddenly, alarms screamed throughout the station. Drac's 4 eyes widened as he looked at his scanner. Impossible. There's nothing there, but the sensors say. A shadow fell across the station's windows. The UE's Vengeance dropped its stealth field, revealing itself in all its terrifying glory. The ship was 3 kilometers long, bristling with weapons that hummed with barely contained power. Drac scrambled for the communication panel. "Unknown vessel, you are in violation of Council space. Identify yourself immediately or face destruction." A calm human voice responded. "This is Captain Cross of the United Earthship Vengeance. Mining Station 7, you have enslaved innocent beings. You have 1 minute to surrender." Drac laughed. "1 human ship against a Council station? You must be insane." "Our shields can withstand." He never finished. The Vengeance fired a single railgun round. The projectile, no bigger than a basketball, hit the station's shield at half the speed of light. The shield shattered like glass. The station's weapons turned to face the human ship, but panels on the Vengeance slid open, revealing hundreds of point defense lasers. Every shot from the station was vaporized before it could even get close. Inside the Vengeance, Captain Cross stood on the bridge, watching the tactical display. His crew worked with perfect coordination. "Boarding teams, go," he ordered. 12 small ships launched from the Vengeance's belly. They moved like angry wasps, too fast for the station's remaining weapons to track. They attached to the station's hull and cut through in seconds. Lieutenant Mike Johnson led the first boarding team. His powered armor made him 8 feet tall and strong enough to bend steel. His team moved through the station's corridors like ghosts. The Council guards, used to fighting helpless slaves, had never faced human Marines. "Remember," Johnson said through his radio, "we're here for the slaves. Council forces are hostile. Everyone else gets protected." The fight was short. Council guards fired their energy weapons, but human armor was designed to absorb energy. The Marines' weapons, simple kinetic rifles, punched through alien shields like they were paper. In 10 minutes, the station was secure. Johnson found the Baron slaves huddled in their quarters. One of them, an elder, looked up with fear. "Please, we have nothing." Johnson removed his helmet, showing his human face. "We're here to help. You're free now." The elder's eyes grew wide. "Humans? But the Council said you were weak." "The Council lied about many things," Johnson replied. Back on the Vengeance, Captain Cross received reports from all boarding teams. "Station secure, Captain. 300 slaves freed. Council forces neutralized. Good work. Bob, send the message." Across the galaxy, every Council communication array suddenly activated. The image of Captain Cross appeared on billions of screens. Behind him, the burning remains of Mining Station 7 could be seen. "Attention, Galactic Council. I am Captain Cross of Earth. For 50 years, you believed we accepted your rule. You were wrong. We signed your treaty to buy time. Time to build. Time to prepare. Time to study your weaknesses." He paused, letting the words sink in. "You destroyed our Mars colony. 40,000 humans died. You thought we forgot. Humans never forget. We have a saying on Earth. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You won't fool us again. The camera panned to show the freed barren slaves being given food and medical care. To all enslaved species, Earth stands with you. To the Council, your reign of terror ends now. We have more. Ships, many more, hidden throughout space, waiting. This is not a declaration of war. War implies both sides have a chance. This is a reckoning. On the Council's throne world, Prime Leader Zork watched the transmission with growing fear. He turned to his military advisor. How many ships do we have near Earth? 50, Prime Leader. Send them all. Destroy these insects. But in the darkness of space, 49 more human ships dropped their stealth fields. They had been waiting, hidden among asteroids and space debris for years. The Council fleet, confident in their numbers, never saw them coming. The age of Council dominance was ending. The age of humanity had begun. The fleet Burns Admiral Gran commanded the Council's third fleet, 50 of their finest warships. Each ship was a kilometer long, painted gold to show the Council's wealth and power. For 3,000 years, these ships had never lost a battle. Admiral, his navigation officer reported, "We'll reach Earth in 2 hours." Gran settled into his command throne. These humans dare to challenge us with one ship? They will learn the price of defiance. Prepare the planet-killer bombs. We'll turn Earth into glass as an example to others. But space around them began to shimmer. One by one, human ships appeared from nowhere. They had been waiting, engines cold, systems minimal, invisible to every sensor. Now they surrounded the Council fleet like wolves around sheep. Admiral Gran's confidence shattered. Where did they come from? Our sensors showed nothing. Sir, I'm counting ... 50 human vessels. They match our numbers exactly. The human ships were different from the Vengeance. Smaller, faster, built for one purpose, hunting. They were painted dark red, and each bore names that promised violence, retribution, fury, payback, remember Mars. A message came through from the lead human ship, a woman's voice, cold as space itself. Admiral Gran, I am Commodore Anna Black of the UES Retribution. You have 2 choices, surrender or be destroyed. You have 30 seconds. Gran's pride overcame his fear. We are the Council. We have ruled for 10,000 years. Open fire, all weapons. The space between the fleets lit up with energy beams and missiles. But something was wrong. The Council's weapons based on energy. Technology seemed to bend around the human ships. The humans had developed gravity shields, creating tiny black holes that swallowed energy attacks. The human response was different. They used simple weapons, chunks of metal fired at incredible speed, missiles with basic chemical explosives, nuclear weapons that the Council considered primitive. But simple didn't mean ineffective. The first Council ship to die was the Golden Pride. A human railgun round punched through its shields and hull like a needle through cloth. The ship's reactor exploded, taking 2 other Council vessels with it. Impossible, Gran screamed. Our shields are invincible. His tactical officer was pale with fear. Sir, our shields are designed for energy weapons. These are just rocks and metal, moving very fast. The shields can't stop them. The human ships moved like a school of fish, perfect coordination. When one fired, others were already moving to new positions. When the Council ships tried to target them, they found empty space. The humans had studied Council tactics for 50 years. They knew every move before it was made. On Earth, General Mason watched the battle from the command bunker. How many Council ships destroyed? 22 and counting, sir. We've lost 1 ship, the UES Thunder. Her crew evacuated successfully. Mason nodded. The Thunder's captain had rammed a Council battleship that was targeting 3 other human vessels. It was a sacrifice, but a worthy one. In space, Admiral Gran watched his fleet burn. His proud golden ships were becoming debris. Send a distress signal. Tell the Council we need reinforcement. Sir, communications are jammed. The humans are blocking everything. Commodore Black's ship, the Retribution, fired its main weapon. It wasn't a railgun or missile. It was something new. A beam of pure antimatter that cut through Gran's flagship like a sword through paper dot as his ship died around him. Gran had one last thought. We thought they were primitive. We were the primitive ones. The battle lasted 40 minutes. When it ended, the entire Council Third Fleet was destroyed. The human ships collected escape pods, treating Council survivors with more mercy than the Council had ever shown. Council Throne World, Prime Leader Zork received the news in silence. His advisors waited for his rage, but instead he seemed to age before their eyes. 50 ships ... Our entire Third Fleet. Gone? Yes, Prime Leader. The humans suffered one loss. They rescued our survivors and are treating them well. They sent a message. What message? They said, this is mercy. You showed none to Mars. Be grateful we're better than you. Zork stood from his throne. For the first time in his 1,000-year life, he felt fear. Send messages to all Council fleets. Return to defensive positions and prepare my personal escape ship. Prime Leader, we woke something we should have left alone. Humans don't just fight. They remember, they plan, they adapt, and they win. Meanwhile, in hidden bases throughout human space, more ships powered up. The vengeance was just the beginning. Humanity had built an entire fleet in secret, and now the galaxy would know the truth. Asterisk breaking chains across the galaxy. 3 weeks after the Third Fleet's destruction, the galaxy was in chaos. The news spread like wildfire. Humans had destroyed 50 Council warships and lost only 1. Slave species everywhere began to hope for the first time in generations. On the desert world of Kara, the reptilian saurians had been mining salt for 500 years. Their Council overseer, Commander Vrak, had just received orders to execute half the slaves as a warning to others who might rebel. Line them up, Vrak ordered his guards. We'll show the galaxy what happens to those who dare hope. The Saurian Elder, a scarred warrior named Rock, stood tall despite his chains. Kill us then. Others will rise. The humans have shown us the Council can bleed. Vrak raised his energy weapon. The humans are just one species. They'll fall like all the others. Then the sky thundered. 5 human dropships punched through the atmosphere like falling stars. They hit the ground hard, kicking up clouds of sand. The doors opened and human Marines poured out. But these weren't just any Marines. These were the Liberation Force, volunteers who had lost family on Mars. Sergeant Bill Anderson led the charge. His voice boomed through speakers in his armor. Council forces, lay down your weapons. Slaves of Kara, today you are free. Vrak ordered his guards to fire, but the humans had learned. Each Marine carried a shield generator that created a wall of energy. They advanced steadily, their kinetic weapons barking death. Council guards fell one by one. Rock watched in amazement as a human Marine cut through his chains with a plasma cutter. You actually came for us? Anderson removed his helmet, revealing a face marked by old burns. My daughter was on Mars. She was 7. The Council killed her for the crime of being human. We're here to make sure no other species suffers. Like we did, the battle for Kara took 2 hours. The Council forces, used to fighting unarmed slaves, crumbled against trained human Marines. But the humans didn't stop there. They had brought ships full of supplies, food, medicine, weapons. We're not here to rule you, Anderson told Rock. We're here to teach you to fight, to help you free yourselves. Similar scenes played out across the galaxy. The prison moon of Yetta, where the peaceful singers had been held for their beautiful voices. The factory world of Mechonis, where the four-armed builders had been forced to construct council ships. The ocean planet of Aqua, where the amphibious swimmers had been harvested for their scales. Every liberation followed the same pattern. Humans arrived, destroyed council forces, freed the slaves, and then did something the council never expected. They stayed to help rebuild. They shared technology. They taught warfare. Captain Cross, now promoted to Admiral, coordinated the liberation from the Vengeance. Status report, Bob? The AI's hologram smiled, a feature the crew had added to make him seem more human. Admiral, we've liberated 17 slave worlds in 3 weeks. The Council has pulled back all fleets to their core systems. They're scared. Good. Fear makes them predictable. What about the Alliance? 7 species have formally joined the Earth Alliance. More are coming every day. On the Council throne world, Prime Leader Zork faced a rebellion of his own. Lesser Council members, seeing their empire crumble, blamed him for underestimating the humans. You said they were primitives, shouted Lord Kresh. You said they would never be a threat. How could I know? Zork defended. They hid their strength. They played weak for 50 years. And in those 50 years, they studied us. They found every weakness. Their weapons bypass our shields. Their ships hide from our sensors. Their soldiers fight like demons. We're losing. A communication interrupted their argument. General Mason appeared on their screen, and for the first time, the Council saw the human who had orchestrated their downfall. Council leaders, Mason began, his voice carrying the weight of command. I am General Tom Mason of Earth. You have a choice. Surrender unconditionally, free all remaining slaves, and face trial for your crimes. Or continue fighting, and be destroyed utterly. You dare threaten us? Zork spat. We still have 1,000 ships, Mason smiled. It was not a pleasant expression. We know. We know where each one is stationed. We know their weaknesses. We've been inside your computer systems for 20 years. Every secret you have, we know. Every plan you make, we see. You never stood a chance. The Council members looked at each other in horror. If the humans had been in their systems for 20 years, 72 hours, Mason continued. That's how long you have to decide. Surrender or annihilation. Earth has spoken. The transmission ended, leaving the Council in silence. Humanity's true face, the 72 hours were almost up. Prime Leader Zork stood in his throne room, but he no longer sat on the throne. That symbol of power seemed meaningless now. Half the Council had already fled, taking whatever ships they could. The other half waited for his decision. Prime Leader, his last loyal advisor, whispered, the human fleet has arrived. 300 ships. They're not hiding anymore. Through the great windows, Zork could see them. Human ships of every size and shape, surrounded by vessels from the freed species. The galaxy had united behind humanity, not through fear, but through hope. A new transmission came through. This time, it wasn't military. A young human woman appeared, wearing simple civilian clothes. Hello, Prime Leader Zork. My name is Emma Stone. I'm not a soldier. I'm a teacher from Earth. The military asked me to speak with you. Zork was confused. Why send a teacher? Emma smiled softly. Because humanity wants you to understand something. We're not conquerors. We don't want to rule the galaxy. We want to teach it. She continued. For 50 years, you thought we were weak because we didn't fight back immediately. But we were. Studying, learning, preparing. Not just weapons and ships, but something more important. We were figuring out how to break the cycle. What cycle? The cycle of violence and revenge. Yes, we built weapons. Yes, we fought your forces. But look at what happened after. We didn't enslave the council prisoners. We didn't destroy conquered worlds. We freed slaves and helped them rebuild. We shared our technology freely. The screen split, showing images from across the galaxy. Humans and Saurians working together to build new cities. Human doctors treating injured council soldiers. Human teachers showing alien children how to read and write. You see, Emma explained, humans have a saying, the best revenge is success. We succeeded in breaking your empire not through destruction, but through creation. Every species you enslaved is now free and growing stronger. They're not our subjects, they're our friends. Zork felt something break inside him. But Mars, 40,000 humans. Yes, Emma's voice hardened slightly. We remember Mars. We'll always remember. But we also remember our history. We've seen what happens when revenge becomes everything. It leads to endless war, endless suffering. We chose a different path. General Mason appeared beside Emma on the screen. Prime Leader Zork, the Council's time is over. But that doesn't mean your species has to end. Surrender. Face justice for your crimes. Those who were just following orders will be given mercy. Those who showed cruelty will face punishment. But even they won't be killed. Humans stopped using death as punishment centuries ago. Then what will happen to us? You'll work to repair the damage you've caused. You'll help rebuild the worlds you destroyed. And maybe, in time, your species can rejoin the galactic community. As equals, not rulers, Zork looked at his remaining advisors. They were all tired, scared, defeated. The Council had ruled through fear for 10 millennia, and in just 2 months, humans had torn it all down. How? Zork asked finally. How did you hide all this from us? Admiral Cross, who had been silent until now, answered. Because you never really looked at us. You saw what you wanted to see, a weak species to exploit. You never wondered why we were so interested in your technology, your tactics, your history. Every trade deal, every diplomatic meeting, every inspection, we were learning. And while you watched our planet's surface, we were building in places you never thought to look. In the asteroid belt, on Jupiter's moons, in deep space where your sensors couldn't reach. We even let you destroy Mars, Cross added, his voice heavy with controlled anger. Because we knew it would unite humanity like nothing else could. Every human alive lost someone on Mars. Every human alive wanted justice. That unity gave us the strength to do the impossible. Zork removed his ceremonial crown, the symbol of council authority. We surrender, unconditionally. Cheers erupted across the galaxy. On 100 worlds, beings who had been slaves that morning were free by nightfall. The Council's reign of terror was over. 1 year later, the Galactic Alliance held its first meeting. Representatives from every free species gathered on Earth in a great hall built specifically for this purpose. General Mason, now retired, gave the opening speech. We gather not as conquerors and conquered, but as equals. The humans have no special position in this alliance. We're just one voice among many. Together, we'll explore the stars. Together, we'll face whatever challenges come. Together, we'll make sure that never again will one species rule over others through fear. The Council species, now without their empire, were given a choice. Join the alliance as equals or remain isolated. Many chose to join, working hard to earn forgiveness. And in schools across the galaxy, children learned a new lesson. True strength isn't in the ability to destroy, but in the wisdom to know when not to. They learned about Earth, the small blue planet that had seemed so weak, but had hidden the greatest strength of all: patience, determination, and the courage to fight not for conquest, but for freedom. The stars no longer belonged to Council. They belonged to everyone. Epilogue: The hidden truth 50 years after the liberation. An old storage unit was discovered on Earth's moon. Inside, historians found the original plans for humanity's resistance. The documents revealed something that changed everything. The plan had been created not by generals or scientists, but by a group of science fiction writers. They had imagined every scenario, every possibility, every strategy. They had asked a simple question: if aliens invaded and we had to hide our strength, how would we do it? Their stories became humanity's blueprint for freedom. At the bottom of the documents was a note: to future generations. We wrote these stories hoping they'd never be needed. If you're reading this, it means they were. Remember, imagination is humanity's greatest weapon. Never stop dreaming of better worlds. The galaxy learned one final lesson about humanity: never underestimate a species that tells stories about the future, because sometimes those stories come true.